Minister of Rami says his job now is to seek clarity about our utility company. Minister of Education says the schools are on his list of top priorities. But first up, member of the Anti-Poverty Platform questions if government have done their homework. Those are the headlines for Thursday, June the 11th, 2020. And this is SXM Daily News. I'm Valerie Van Putten. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And as usual, we have a packed newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story for this evening, during the weekly press briefing of the St. Martin Consumers Coalition and the Anti-Poverty Platform, coalition member Raymond Gisseroun, who supports the various unions on the island, will be presenting a copy of the human rights violation to government. He questions, however, whether the unions have to teach members of parliament now about human rights. Mr. Gisseroun says either they didn't do their homework or they are not knowledgeable.
The unions have been informing publicly which labor standards are being violated. In the meeting we had on Tuesday, the Prime Minister asked the WICLU to provide in writing which international, kingdom, or local legislation is being violated. In other words, these paid appointed officials in the Council of Ministers and the paid advisors of the Council of Ministers, either they didn't do their homework from the moment that they received the demands from the Dutch politicians, or they are not knowledgeable about all the legislation that, according to Article 81 of the Constitution of St. Martin, everyone has to respect. What a thing. Do the unions have to teach them now? And then for them to teach the Kingdom Council of Ministers before the 1st of July, which human rights they are trampling on with their conditions? Well, according to the mandate received from the members of the 7 unions, if the St. Martin government and the Kingdom government, of which the St. Martin government is a part through their minister plenipotentiary, if they do not remove all the cost-cutting measures in the remuneration of the workers and they remove them from the table before June the 15th, if they don't want to respect workers' rights, which are human rights, then they will be exposed by the unions as human rights violators and racial discriminators. Tomorrow, June the 12th, the Kingdom Council of Ministers, through its representative here in the island, the governor of St. Martin, will get a letter protesting the human rights violations and demanding immediate cancellation of the discriminatory COVID-19 cost-cutting measures. State Secretary Knops will also get a letter. That will be delivered through the Dutch representative on the island for him also to immediately stop the human rights violations and the apartheid conditions he has proposed to the Kingdom Council of Ministers. And since the Council of Ministers has no clue which workers' rights, which human rights, which kingdom laws, and which local laws are being violated, they also will get a letter tomorrow to immediately stop the violations of our rights and to defend our rights in the Kingdom Council of Ministers.
And also attending the Anti-Poverty Platform Coalition weekly press briefing earlier today, President of the WICLU, Claire Elshot, gave an update on the outcome of the meeting that was held with government.
Finally, on Tuesday, June the 9th, the Council of Ministers honored the request of the unified unions in the Windward Island Chamber of Labor Unions for a dialogue. To start this dialogue, it took 2 months. Two letters had to be written, one on March the 31st and another one on May the 28th. A walk to the government administration building from union members in support of their leaders also was part of that. The labor unions wanted to dialogue with the Council of Ministers on proposals and recommendations with regards to the status of the workers on St. Martin, especially considering the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the workers and their families. Let us review with you what the WICLU recommended and what the Council of Ministers and the AOC did consultations with the unions. Then you will understand why the ununified unions had to mobilize their members to be heard and to be respected. The Prime Minister in yesterday's weekly Council of Ministers press briefing said that she had a very positive impression of the first meeting the COM had with the 7 WICLU unified unions. She recognized that all the meetings on the cost-cutting measures she had was meetings with only 2 civil servants union representatives in the consultative body of the Committee for Civil Servants Union, and did not address the issues the 7 unions have requested to dialogue about the situation facing all workers and their families. The Prime Minister assured that the governing program, to be published yet, has a high regard to the sustainable development goals with the input of all stakeholders. The Prime Minister looks forward to continue the dialogue with the unions, as she said that the fight is not between the government and the unions, but the fight is to get the kingdom partners to recognize our rights in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. She promised to send responses to all the letters we have written. So how positive we from the unions can be after 2 hours meeting? Until now, we don't have an agreement of what a dialogue is. The definition of dialogue is to take part in a conversation or a discussion to resolve a problem. After 2 months of requesting for a conversation and a discussion to resolve the many problems workers and their families are experiencing, how many problems could we have discussed in 2 hours?
And as we continue now with more news, Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Rodolphe Samuel, gave a short introduction on Flag Day, which will be held this Saturday, June the 13th. The minister says he's encouraging everyone to honor our flag, even though the ceremony would not be elaborate.
I just want to give a short introduction of something that is going to be happening with us in St. Martin on Saturday, the 13th of June, and that will be our Flag Day. It will be Flag Day of St. Martin, and we are asking everyone to do the best that they know they have to do in terms of showing pride for the flag, showing respect for the flag, and most of all, honoring the flag. On Saturday, we will have a ceremony. It won't be the elaborate ceremonies that we usually have, and that is because of the COVID-19 situation. But the whole agenda and the celebration regarding the Flag Day will be in the media. So I'm asking everyone to look out in the media for the upcoming program for Flag Day.
And still to come, Prime Minister of St. Martin explains the current status of the SSRP. I'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
And as we continue now with more news, Minister of Romy, Ekbo addressed the issue of the high utility bills of GEBE. The minister was at the time speaking on the program Online with Fernando Clark on SOS radio station 95.9 FM. The minister said that his job now is to seek more clarity.
Beating on media, but more, as you stated, Fernando, urging people to report the truth. For instance, in the beginning of this whole GB thing, I stated, one of the reporters asked me, what about the GB bills and so forth? And I stated, listen, I urge citizens, if there's an issue with your bill, report it to customer service or my person. They leave out the whole my person thing and Doran said, go by GB. Why? Because that sounds better now. Because you understand what I mean? It look like, okay, when it's election time and so forth, and all the time you say, you have an open door policy, now you're chasing, which was not what I said. I have so much bills coming in on the email and reviewing them and comparing them. Some of them are really, you can't argue, it is what it is. But one or two, you find the difference in between. And it's my job now, once we, run the numbers and you can't get a clear explanation, to seek more clarity on it. And up to now, some of them are still, being evaluated. But my point what I'm trying to say is, again, when you look at the article, who wrote the article? It's only if you sit down in a press conference and if I send out my own press release with my title and everything, then you can't argue with that.
And the issue of school repairs is high on the Minister of Education's list of priorities. Minister Samuel fielded questions from reporters regarding the various school repairs on the island at the Council of Ministers' weekly press briefing on Wednesday last. The minister was asked if the ministry has set any plans to repair these schools by the new school year, which will start in August of 2020.
Yes, indeed. When I took office, I have met the schools of St. Martin, actually 25 of them, not being really repaired since Hurricane Irma. Of the 25, there was a bid that went out to repair 6 of the schools. I have managed thus far to be able to get the 6 schools that are with the bid. This week, we cleaned out a section of the Martin Luther King School to start with the repairing of the roof. And the program looked as if we would have next week the construction for the repairing of the Martin Luther King School really started. The other school that you spoke about, which is the Leonard Connor School in Cape Bay, this school is on the list of the schools that has to be repaired by the NRPB/World Bank. It is 19 or 20 of those schools. I have met with the World Bank, with NRPB, and I have asked them to pull forward 6 or 7 of these schools. And while we are on vacation and the students are not there, if they can fast forward the repairing of these schools so that in August upcoming, we would have sufficient classrooms to start out with. One of the other schools that have been encountering problems is the Prince William Alexander School in St. Peter's. This project has been stuck, I think, for about 5 years. I can say that I believe within the next week or two, the project will continue again. And I'm asking everyone that is involved to continue to be positive about the projects. The projects repairing schools is for our students, and I am very hopeful and positive that these projects will be online. And when, let us say, the Prince William Alexander School, if we get this school ready for August, we can move Lionel Connor from where they are in K Bay, take them to St. Peter's, and then the World Bank / NRPB would have all the things in place in order to start with Lionel Connor School, which I hope can happen.
Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Sylvia Jacobs, speaking about the Stimulus Support Relief Plan, the SSRP, the Prime Minister said that government is supplying the funding for SZV to give to companies. The Prime Minister was replying to a question posed by a reporter about government considering releasing the names of businesses that received support.
Indeed, that was one of the topics discussed in our meeting last evening with the WICLU, the Windward Island Chamber of Labor Unions. It was brought up as a concern. The ministries, there are two different entities. Government is giving out unemployment, and we are supplying the funding for SZV to give to the companies. What we have been doing is, and I've seen it happen, and sometimes we've had people that apply for both. So that is also being dealt with. That is also a concern. And most definitely, any employers found to be negligent in passing on the funds to their employees will be dealt with. There are checks and balances in place, and I'm asking the persons who have not received to report to the Labor Office. Divulging the list at this time, the legal department is having a look, according to the Minister of Finance, as to the possibilities to legally do so, and that is being looked into at the moment. However, in the meantime, I would like to tell each and every business owner that has gone through the process to submit documentation and qualify for the SSRP program, it is to assist the employees. It is salary support. And the fines that will be levied upon you if you do not pass that on will not be what you're looking for. Anyone taking advantage of this situation where government has taken the pledge to assist those who would be without or who would then be forced to close would be a travesty of justice and would be an even graver injustice as it touches the most vulnerable people whom we are trying to help. So government will be looking into all of the cases that have been brought to our attention. The union has also stated that they have more names than we probably have on file and will be sharing that with us. And that's why I commend them for collaborating and cooperating. And then employers will know that while the Labor Office actually put out two information numbers, one for employees and one for employers, that most definitely employees' rights will not go unsupported, and that we will definitely fight for them and ensure that they get what they deserve.
Now, turning to our weather forecast for June the 11th, 2020. A tropical wave located about 210 miles east of the Windward Islands is moving westward at 15 to 20 miles per hour. This system continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. However, significant development is not expected. Formation chance through the next 5 days is 10%. The active weather associated with the system is expected to remain south of the local area. Unstable conditions along with available moisture and light winds will cause isolated showers and possible isolated thunderstorms across the local area. Seas are expected to remain slight during the next few days. So our outlook through Saturday midday is partly cloudy with a few brief showers possible. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, Member of Parliament sounds the alarm about undocumented persons. We'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
And in this public announcement from the Department of ROMI, the Ministry of Public Housing, Environment, Spatial Development, and Infrastructure hereby announces that there will be interruption with the traffic flow on Billy Folly Road from Monday, June the 15th through Monday, July the 6th, 2020. Water drainage works will be carried out over the 3-week period from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. and will take place between Atrium Hotel and Burger King along the public road. The partial road closure is in connection with the Billy Folly drainage project, which is geared towards the elimination of the excess water on the road that occurs due to heavy rainfall. Motorists are requested to be vigilant and observant for the traffic directional signs. Notice to the public and all motorists that tampering and/or removing barricades is punishable by law. And in other news at this time, Member of Parliament George Ponteflet sounds the alarm regarding the deportation of undocumented persons. The Member of Parliament says the issue is not the undocumented person, but the employers who are employing them. He also said that if the employer is not issued a fine, then you are perpetrating the same problem.
And, people look at undocumented person. I keep saying all the time, the issue is not really undocumented. The issue is those employers who are employing undocumented persons who don't want to take the time out to register them, because if they do so, it means paying taxes, paying premiums. So again, I've heard talks about, yes, deport them, deport them. We have to be very cautious, and I know I'm going to get criticized for this, but I'm okay. I've been doing this for many years now. If you are deporting undocumented persons and not issuing fines to the employers, then you are perpetuating the same problem. So at the same time, if you're going to deport, make sure the employer gets a fine, and if that person is working 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years and you have to be deported, make sure the benefits that we're giving to somebody who's legal is also given to that person. Let us start from there, because if we issue some fines, I'm sure this practice will not stop, but it will minimize. So again, I'm telling you that stop abusing people, our local people and also the internationals. They're all being abused because of this dirty system that is ongoing, and I think it's time to stop. The people of them are afraid. Some of them are afraid to go to the unions and so on because they want to maintain their jobs. But I'm saying this is where we as government, as Parliament, have to step in and defend the people of this country.
And the Member of Parliament also briefed SXM Daily News about the IPCO meeting. The Member of Parliament says that nothing constructive comes out of those meetings. It is only of a consultative nature. He explains why.
Right now, the IPCO meeting is ongoing. I don't know if you all read the article I wrote in regards to the IPCO meeting. I've attended numerous IPCO meetings, and I've always said this. For me, they're only of a consultative nature. Why? You discuss with the different parliaments of the different countries, quote unquote, because I also say St. Martin is not a country, we are a constitutional state, but I say country not to confuse the people. And you find where you sign all kind of agreements and MOUs and so on, but in the final analysis, it has to go back to the governments of the different countries. And I dare anyone to tell me exactly what decisions that were taken during those meetings has been approved by the governments and has been executed by the governments. Nothing has happened. So what I'm saying, I don't see the importance of them. If you want to share information back and forth, yes, but I think it's time that they are used to show what is taking place with regards to the democratic deficit in the country, in the kingdom. In 2001, a senator of the Netherlands, of the second chamber, Mr. Van Laar, and then after that, Mr. Van Ommen, I think his name is, what they did, they submitted a draft proposal to the second chamber, requesting that Articles 14 and 38 be amended in order to give the other countries more authority to decide in regards to laws. What happened to that? I'm talking about, 19, 20 years ago. In 2008, the countries decided to fight against the issue of where they can put their disputes, which is called the dispute regulation. 2008, in 2020, do you know that the Dutch government, not the parliament, and this is why I said in my article that I wrote that the parliament is subjected to the government, because whatever the government says, that is law. The Dutch government decided after many discussions and many proposals from the countries that this matter of the dispute regulation is not important, so let us put it on the back burner for 3 years. So this is something I would have brought up in this meeting today.
And still to come, CPS thanks volunteers who participated in its COVID-19 community outreach campaign. I'll have the details to that story when SXM Daily News returns. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, the Collective Prevention Services, CPS, a department from the St. Martin Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, Ministry VSA, is thanking all volunteers who participated over the past 2 months in its COVID-19 community outreach campaign that concluded in the 4th weekend of May. A special thanks was also extended to persons who set aside their time during the shutdown to ensure that hard-to-reach persons receive the necessary preventive COVID-19 information, and persons with flu-like symptoms could have been identified for follow-up by CPS. Those that took part in the outreach campaigns were Community Awareness Volunteers, CAV, representing various entities and organizations from AMI, the Red Cross, WEAMS, students from the AUC, the fire department from the airport, and the government. During the past 2 months, the team visited thousands of homes and spoke with thousands of residents, providing valuable, accurate information and, at the same time, collecting data from those residents who have flu-like symptoms. During the final weekend of May 23rd and 24th, CPS staff and CAV visited the districts of Fort Willem, Phillipsburg, Canagita Street, Hope Estate, South Reward, and St. Peter's. The teams covered 805 households and 2,561 persons. CPS said that residents were very cooperative and happy to have someone share information with them and listen to their concerns. Some of the non-health related concerns presented by residents were unemployment, job security, and having sufficient food. CPS is also reminding the St. Martin community to practice proper hygiene on a daily basis by maintaining 2 meters social distancing from other persons, practicing good respiratory etiquette such as coughing in your elbow and sneezing in a tissue, and properly disposing of it in a bin. Wash your hands frequently for at least 20 seconds with soap, or use hand sanitizer with at least a 60% alcohol base, and clean often touch surfaces with disinfectant. CPS reminds the public, do not wait to call your physician if you have flu-like symptoms. If you do not have a general practitioner or cannot reach your physician, call CPS at 914 without delay, and do not go to the emergency room of the St. Martin Medical Center, the SMMC, but call first when you are sick. And with that, viewers, we've concluded this edition of SXM News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for joining me this evening. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.